So I'm Shannon Iverson. I have a PhD in anthropology with a focus on archaeology from UT, graduated in 2015. And I currently work as a design research lead at AstraZeneca, which is a pharmaceutical company. My first position after graduate school was as a Mellon postdoctoral fellow at Rice University. I was part of a interdisciplinary fellowship program with people from everyone from undergrads to senior researchers in all different disciplines. It was called the Chronotopic Imaginary: the city and signs, signals, and scripts. So we love alliteration. And yeah, it was a really, really great experience. I was drawn to it in part because of that interdisciplinary factor. So when you do a PhD, you have to go so deep into the research and these very minute problems. And I just really wanted to sort of like emerge, and I'm more of a generalist by nature anyway. And so I just really wanted to kind of be talking with people that studied French literature or history or all these different things. And so we were all focused on digital mapping during that year. And that was really great because I got to interact with a really wonderful center at Rice University, which exists in the basement of the Fondren Library, called Digital Commons. And they have a bunch of just classes and trainings and just amazing people and resources that really allow you to skill up in the digital world, which really helped me prepare for my current position. Another thing that I got to do was just kind of hang out with and shadow a really great anthropologist that I met there named Andrea Ballesteros, who does incredibly creative anthropology and almost treats anthropology as a design thinking exercise. And just her classes are really about looking at every aspect of research as if it's almost like an art piece, and really exploring different ways to go about research. So both of those pieces of that fellowship were just incredible. So in my current role in AstraZeneca, I'm a researcher embedded in a design team, in actually two different design teams. And so from day to day, I'm really leading the two elements of research. So I would say generative and evaluative research, meaning that I have to get out in front, even sometimes years in front of the product, to understand what we have to build and why and what kinds of problems we're solving. And then that's the generative piece. So that means on a typical day, I might be interviewing people, I might be creating maps of how their work structure and their day goes, almost like a corporate anthropologist, you might say, and correlating that with all of the other people that have to work on that same task and really understanding what our system has to do. And then working with other stakeholders. So like we have data constraints, and this is typical of all sort of digital systems, you have data constraints, you have priorities that you have to make and decisions that you have to make. And so sort of understanding how all of those pieces fit together. And then for the evaluative side, once we've already built something, or even if we've just only designed something, I have to understand whether that's solving the problem that we initially set out to solve, and whether it's usable according to sort of human elements of human perception, whether people can do what they need to do in the system. In terms of how the PhD at UT prepared me in my work as an archaeologist and an anthropologist, there's a lot of ways that doing a PhD fed into the work that I do today. So most critically, I think research is kind of the same across all different kinds of research essentially have the same structure. So you really have to understand the problem. You have to understand the many ways that the problem could be solved. You have to sort of know how to go about solving that problem and have those methods under your belt. And then you have to be able to synthesize a lot of different strands of evidence in order to come up with a solution and an answer for people. And so I do that every day. I think the biggest thing that helped me, honestly, was directing a research project in Mexico as an archaeologist, where I just had to be overseeing a million different moving parts every single day and take a project from the seed of an idea to understanding how that would fit in the broader world of research, to actually being on the ground working with other specialists and getting all of that information together, and then finally producing something that solved a new question. What really helped me to make that transition was talking to people, basically changing my brain so that I had the people skills to emerge from my bubble that I had been in as a PhD student, where you do everything by yourself almost, to a world where you have to work on a team, where you have to talk to other people to get a job, where you have to learn how to network, and networking, I think, is a really mysterious word until you do it. And what that really means is about 95% of just asking somebody else about their life, about their job, about how they got into their job, just like we're doing right now. And then kind of 5% of just letting them know, hey, I'm available to shadow you. I'm available to, do a little project for you for free. I'm available to, if you have an open position, whatever that may be, where once you've learned enough about them that you know what they need, you can offer yourself to be of use and give that thing a try. I think for me personally, and this is not the same for everyone, but I really was never 100% sure that I was going to be in academia for life. My thought process was sort of always be open to other kinds of experiences. And in fact, even within my graduate school experience, I worked in the fishing industry, I worked in the publishing industry. I did a lot of kind of strange stuff over on the side sometimes, in addition to archaeology, both academic and private. But I think when I was most sure, I kind of had my values really changed, and I wanted to be in one place. And that was really at odds with kind of how the academic job market goes today. And so I knew that I could keep trying for it, and I might be successful or I might not be successful, but that was not really how I wanted to kind of spend the remainder of my 30s, frankly. So I made a decision that I would give myself 2 years on the job market. So the first year, as I was finishing my dissertation, I was applying for both tenure track jobs as well as fellowships and things. Ended up getting a couple of bites on fellowships and got the fellowship that at Rice University. And then while I was at Rice, did another round of applications, this time only to tenure track jobs. And there were very few that year, and I didn't get any bites. And so I just decided, okay, that's the end of my train. In contrast, I have many friends that have persisted, have decided to keep trying, and that's worked out or not worked out in various ways. Some beautiful success stories, some stories much like mine where they decided to fork off and do a different thing. But I think it's a really individual decision. And I do think that it's so hard to make that transition, that it's important to know that's what you want to be doing. But at the same time, there's also ways to try out little bits of other, other industries, and in very small ways, without committing to that, and see if that's something that you would be interested in. And I think I recommend just trying that method, because I think getting information about what you like and what you don't like, and being able to surprise yourself is so valuable, because you might find something that's even more fulfilling if you keep an open mind about it. That's such a great question. So if I were on the hiring committee for my position within my organization, which I've been involved in many job searches in the past for my same role, what I'm really looking for is, first and foremost, someone who is very friendly and a team player. Like, it is so important to be able to talk to other people, to get along with other people, to absorb their ideas, to listen to their ideas, and to be generous about coming up with a solution and giving other people the benefit of the doubt. I think the second huge thing is just curiosity, big mind, like not being wedded to a particular idea or solution, but really just like being open to exploring all different kinds of things, and just being able to run in a lot of different directions. And then I think finally it's really about, there's a child psychologist called I'm forgetting his first name, but Winnicott, and he says something about good enough parenting, right? And I think the same thing is true of research. It's like, good enough research is what you need in industry. You can't be too obsessive. You can't be like, oh, I need the next year and a half, and it needs to be perfect, and I need to cross, every T and dot every I. It's like, no, what's the minimum that my team needs? It's very problem oriented. What's the minimum my team needs in order to move forward? And how can I get that to them while still maintaining that rigor, but also making sure that I'm not so overdoing it that I'm blocking them from moving on. I think it's really important, to do stuff like this, to talk to people that have gone through this same experience and are now in their own careers and have actually done that transition. That's A. And then B, I think is that same advice, which I got after I was a graduate student in the book Designing Your Life, where you're just really thinking about your career in terms of having a bias to action. So what that means is, like, you pick a thing, or you pick a series of things, and then you understand what is the shortest way to fail or succeed in this thing. So that might mean, again, like shadowing someone. It might mean interviewing someone. It might mean, watching a show about that particular career. There are a million different ways that you could get a little bit of insight into what that's like. And then understand, do some introspection and understand what pieces of it do you like. Do you like the teamwork side of it? Do you like the creativity side of it? Do you like the, hunkering down and doing 20 million years of research on that one particular tiny thing? Whatever it is that's really speaking to you, how can you do more of that? How can you find other things that are even more of that? And then that's sort of like, in my mind, the path to happiness in a new and adjacent career.